Welcome back. So in our Selenium with Java series, we are looking into the framework designing from scratch. Okay, so in our previous session, we have seen how we can design the pageFactory pattern with respect to the page object model. So in the pageFactory, we have seen how we can declare one particular element or web element, how can we assign some locator strategies to do that, and how we can initialize by using the pageFactory init elements method. Okay, so it was all pretty much going good. There wasn't any issue actually so far we have faced, but then there are certain disadvantages of the of the pageFactory pattern is there, which I wanted to discuss. So if you are sticking down to your pageFactory pattern in your current framework, you need to make sure that to handle those things at the beginning, so that in future when you scale your test cases to a bigger chunk, you might not face issues. And then after you do lot of changes, after that if you are coming back to the framework designing, which is not a good practice, right? So all the issues or disadvantages of your way of designing the framework, you need to estimate that beforehand only, how much you can. For sure we cannot be estimating 100%, but to whatever extent you can think about that. And for that we need to understand or gain the learning about what are the good or bad points of the way you are designing the framework. So that is why I wanted to give you all a different perspective of all the patterns, all the ways that we are writing the code. Okay, so in this particular session we will be seeing the disadvantages or what else extra step we need to do to make this pageFactory pattern more stable. Okay, so now let's first understand that what is the demerit of this one. Okay, so if you see here, the biggest disadvantages is that you need to specify the locator strategy into the find by itself only. So it means that you cannot have a variable. So there are certain scenarios where you need a variable, right? For an instance, let's say that you want to write a utility method where depending on a text you want to find that element. This is a very fair scenario. Let's say that you have list items, and then based on your certain text you want to identify that particular element. So for that, what we do normally, so if I write a basic scenario, let me just go here and I will write public, and then let's say that I will make it a web element, and I will say that element, okay, element based on text. Okay, let's say that. So I'm doing here, and this will accept some string text. Okay, now here what I'm going to do, now I will be doing driver dot find element, and then here I will say by dot xpath. Let's say that xpath I'm taking at this moment. So here I will be taking here, so here now I will say contains. Now this is a method, right? Contains, and here I will say text, which is a method, comma the search text actually. Now how do I mention that? So here I will say text, and then I will just concatenate that. Fine. So like this I will be doing here like this, and give a single quote here, and the same way before to this another single quote. Okay, so like this I will be doing, and because this is returning, so I will be writing like this. Now in this case, if you see, or here I can say get element, maybe I will write this way, get element based on text. Now so let's say that I want to get some particular element based on some search. I have this flexibility, right, where I can play with my locator strategy based on some variable. But in this case, if you see, I don't have anything. Like you cannot give here username and then plus and then some variable here. You are not allowed to do that. Let's say that str, and then you will make it as a plus. It will throw you some error actually here, like it will be giving as a string, so it won't be resolved here. So that is one of the main disadvantages that I felt here. So if you would have declared any of the web element or locator strategy by using by locator, then you have this particular liberty to do that. Okay, else what you need to do, you need to have two different approaches. One is have a methods along with your pageFactory pattern, but within only pageFactory pattern you don't have that option where you can specify the locator strategies based on some variables. Okay, that is one thing. And another thing, if you see all the locators that I am mentioning here, it returns web element only. Now what is the problem here? So let me show you that problem. So for that, let me go back to this one. So here we have mentioned this wait, right? Let's say that I want to wait for a particular text. So here let me take it to this one, and into the products page, let's say that I am keeping this one here. Let's say that I will say public void, and here I will say wait, some name I'm giving here, and inside this I'm writing this one, and here let's say WebDriver wait, and then wait, some name I'm giving. Okay, here already it is there, so let me just remove this one, I don't need now. Okay, so wait for element, some name I'm giving here. Now in this case I will do wait for until, we know this one explicit wait, right? So expected conditions. Now in this case I will put a dot. Now you can see there are a lot of different methods they are giving, like one of them is visibility of. Now when you use this visibility of, it is accepting one web element, so you don't have any issues with that. Think about this one, visibility of element located. Now what exactly this does, this will first check whether that element is present, and after that it will check whether the element is visible or not. So there are two different things it is performing. Let me show you that. So if I do this, and let me go to this implementation, so I will say find usage. Now if you come to here, or else what I can do, I can mouse over here and command B in my Mac, so you will see it is going to my expected conditions dot class. So this is my coming from the Selenium library. Now if you see what exactly this does, here it's accepting a by locator. After that, as I was telling, it is first searching for that element, it means it is finding that element, then it is checking whether that element is visible or not. So there are two different tasks it is doing at one time. Now in this case I cannot use here any of the web element. Let's say that I want to enter this products text. Okay, I can't do this one actually, because this is a web element. But what exactly this requires, this requires one by locator. So that is the problem here. So I cannot use the WebDriver wait in all of the methods that are available. Let's see the same thing what else we have. So I will just say expected conditions dot presence of element. You can see the presence of element needs a by locator in this case. So I cannot create that. So that is the reason I have taken here, if you would have watched my previous video, I have taken visibility of product test or text, whatever it is there, but I cannot use presence of element. There are so many different methods which are very specific to the by locator only. You can see presence of element located, and then attribute contains. See, now there are even good things are also there, that certain methods they are giving you both actually by locator and web element as well. So here you can see attribute to be by locator and web element. So where you are giving web element, then it won't identify that. See the difference actually here. So if I go again inside this, and let's go to this, now it is asking two actually, one is by locator, one is web element. So if I go to this, you can see driver dot find element option is not there. But if you go to the by locator method, which is a overloaded method, there you will see driver dot find element. So they have given couple of different methods which is accepting by locator and your what do you call web element. But in case of presence of element, which I was showing, and normally we use this one to wait for an element. We don't want to check any attribute of that element. We just wanted to make sure that whether that element is present or not. If it is not present, you just wait till this amount of time. That is the main benefit of our explicit wait, right? Now how do we achieve that? So out of box pageFactory pattern doesn't support that one. Okay, but still there are a couple of things we can do it. In this sense, we can even play with this now. So we can write our own custom our own custom methods or custom expected conditions as well, we can write it. okay, which you can use it as a utility method, and wherever you need you can even utilize that. Let me first show you that. So let's first see what is presence of element is all about. So let me show you that. So in this case what it is doing, it's taking this by locator. You can see what is the return type. Return type is web element. Either, so there are actually two different ways you can do it. This expected condition type has two different types. Either you can return a web element or you can return a boolean as well. So based on that we will be doing, and then you have to give some method name. You can give your own user defined method. Okay, after that you need to pass that web element which we want to wait for. After that what you need to do, if you see here, now it is returning something which is expected condition of web element. Okay, now this is an interface actually. Now this interface has this apply. Apply is a method which you need to implement it. So whenever you are using like this way, you have to implement this apply. Okay, this apply has a what you call parameter, that is a WebDriver, and under this you can write any logic. Okay, any logic or any condition that will become true. Now the logic, how this works, you know, this expected conditions. So whatever you are writing inside this apply, right, until unless this condition will become true, this expected conditions will be keep on looping it. Okay, how many times? So each time your this presence of element, the Selenium will hit or will call this presence of element every 0.5 seconds. Okay, in the sense, if I am giving 15 second here, it means that this particular method will be called 30 times, because every 0.5 second it will be polling this method, and then so that's how 30 times it will do. Now in that 30 times, if this apply or whatever the condition you are writing here, if this becomes true, then it will come out of this WebDriver wait condition, and then it will proceed to the next line of code. Let's say that this apply, whatever condition you are writing here, that becomes false even after 30 retries as well, then you get the timeout exception. So that is the concept behind this expected wait, and this is again applicable to every time. Now here you can see this is also about apply. See here, there is no way you will be getting a kind of try catch block, so that is why they are not giving what you call try catch. Sometimes let's say that you will get an exception if that condition is failing, so you can keep that into a try block. Okay, so it is just simple, because see, your concept is to make this particular return as true. So when you make this return true, then this apply will be done and it will come out of this loop. Okay, that retrace whatever you are doing. So the same logic we will be applying for our pageFactory pattern as well. I will be showing you one way of that. So depending on if you are still sticking to your pageFactory pattern, then you can keep on wherever you need, you can just override, or you can create your own user defined explicit wait conditions. Fine. Okay, so now for this, let me first do like this. So I will say wait for, I'll create wait for element, some method I'm creating. For sure this method is not there, so I have to write it in a method here actually. So now let's say public void. Okay, it shouldn't be void. Let me make it a static so that I can directly utilize inside this. So static, and I will say expected condition. Now this require a generic type, right? I will be giving boolean. I told you, right, either we can accept a web element or a boolean as well. Now I will give the exact method name which I want. Inside this I want to send a parameter as web element, that is nothing but the pageFactory patterns web element. I will be sending it. What I need to do, I can just write new expected condition and then boolean, because I'm taking it as a boolean. Now when you do this one, inside this you need to override that apply. Okay, so here this is to be return. Okay, now in this actually you need to, if you see there is some error it is coming, where it is telling that there are certain methods are there which you need to implement it, and the method name is apply. So I will be writing here public, and then I will say boolean, because I want to send it as a boolean, and then apply. So now I have to implement this particular apply method, and inside this what I have to keep? I have to keep the WebDriver. Okay, WebDriver. Now here what I'm going to do, I will write some condition here. So the first condition, I will make a boolean value. Let me show you. Let me first write and then we'll make you understand this one. Okay, now here what I'm going to do, I'll write a condition el which I'm passing as a parameter. I'll say is displayed. Okay, is displayed. If it is displayed, then you make the flag as true, because see, I have to make it as true, right? I have to return something to this one. Now in case, let's say that this element is throwing some kind of exception to me, now in that case what I'm going to do, I will be utilizing a catch block here. So in this catch, now here I'll say any exception, I'm just capturing any exception that it is throwing. Now in this case I don't want to do anything actually, because anyway if this condition is becoming true, then if this if condition is true, then I will be taking the flag as true. If it is not there, so in this case, okay, I didn't do a try block actually, so under try block I will be keeping this if block. Okay, and let's make this one so that the error will be gone. Okay, now in the catch block, let's say that I want to print something actually here, so I will say inside catch block, and I will be printing even that message also, what it is throwing. So I will say is get message, e dot get message. So if your el is throwing any error, because see, now till this el I'm calling, there is no problem, but when I'm checking el dot displayed, if that element is not present on the screen, then this will throw you the exception, no such element exception, and that's where it will come to this catch block. I don't want to do anything, but if this element is present on that screen after certain polls, then your flag will become true. So it's throwing some error because this boolean needs something to return, right? What is that? The return type has to be some boolean value. So can I return like this? Return this flag. So until this particular flag is false, this particular condition, this particular method will be keep on polling actually. Okay, polling at every 0.5 second. That is the logic actually, the expected way it does here. Okay, here I need to give a semicolon actually. Okay, so that this return, so here actually I am creating a new object, inside that I am implementing this apply method. That is the logic. So now my wait for element method is done actually. So what it will do, until your element is present, it will be keep on looping. Once this element is present, the flag will become true, and as I said, if this apply is returning a true, then it will come out of this wait for element. It won't again poll actually next time. So that is what I'm to do. So now I can call this wait for element as it is only. I don't want an expected conditions dot, because I've taken already that one here. Inside this I'm taking. So now here what I need to do, I need to send this product text, right? Any element that now I can take it to here. Now in this case, so what I'm going to do, now until your product text is not displayed, it will be keep on polling this one. That is the concept. To make this particular logic make you understand, I will be taking a sample application, and for that what I have done, I have created one sample file here, which is very straightforward. So that's why I created for saving time. You can see, so let me first show you this particular page actually, what this is doing actually. So if you see, we have already seen in our previous sessions. So in this particular screen, if you click on this try me, after 5 seconds, there is a new element will be appearing. As you can see, so this appeared after 5 seconds of clicking on this button. Now if I click on this button and directly identify this particular element, it will be throwing me the exception. So that is what I did here. So I'm navigating to this one, and I'm using pure pageFactory pattern only. Here you can see, so try me is nothing but this particular button, and delay text is nothing but this text, which will appear after 5 seconds. Now here I'm not waiting anything. Here you can see I have did the init element where I'm sending the driver object, clicking on that try me, and as I'm clicking that, I'm trying to identify this element, so getting that text. So now let me execute this particular code. and as you can see, it didn't even wait for that particular element, and it thrown you the error that CSS selector delay is not found. Even though it came after 5 seconds, it didn't wait for that because we didn't give any wait. Now in this case, that is what I was talking. How do you wait for this particular element? Let's say that you're clicking on the submit button of a registration form, which will go to the next page where it will show you a thank you screen. How do you wait for that thank you screen to appear? So you need to wait for that particular element, right? So that is where actually I was explaining about this wait for product, wait for element. Now if I copy this entire thing, and now let me copy paste into this outside this test method, now I can utilize this one. So here what I'm going to do, I'll say wait for element. So here I will be writing that 2 lines of code as we have written here. Let me make it as a 6 second. I don't want to wait more than this. So wait dot until, and then wait for element. What is that element? That is nothing but the delay text. So after you are clicking on this try me button, you wait for 6 seconds. That is what I'm writing my own method here, which is this one. Now let's see if it is still throwing me error or not. So as you can see, it is waiting for 5 seconds. So which would have done 10 different polls, it would have been done to that wait for element method. Okay, now let me even show you. So here you can see, so this particular method wait for element called 10 times because 0.5 second, and how much time I'm waiting? 6. So possibly I mean after 10 polls this particular text would have been appeared, and that's where actually it become true and came out of the loop. Even I can show you that. How can I show you? See, as my condition is failing, it is throwing me this exception, right, inside catch block. So you can see 10 times this inside catch block. So as you can see here, you can see like this. Now if you search this one, you might be getting, you can see exactly 10 times it called that particular method. So after 5 seconds it came out of the loop because your this if condition will become true, flag equal to true. As I told, if this apply is returning a true, then it will come out of the loop, and then the next line of code came, where even I can show you the output as well at the end. You can see after everything done, now you can see the text even appearing. So this is what an extra effort you need to do. Probably what you can do, you can copy paste this one into your utility method. So any element that you want to wait whenever you are doing a navigation to from one page to another page, or let's say that any grid element that which will take some time to appear it, any dynamically if it is appearing, then you can call these methods. Okay, so and this is not it. Actually there are a couple of all other different things as well you might encounter in pageFactory pattern. So as and when you need those things, you will be writing your own logic to avoid that. Another thing, the third one which I wanted to note to you guys. So I told you in our last session, right, if let's say, so every time you are calling this particular element, what Selenium does, this pageFactory will again go to your DOM and re-identify that element. So that is what which is avoiding your stale element exception, right? Even though your DOM will be refreshed also, you don't need to worry about that, because every time you are calling this particular element to perform certain action, it will re-identify that. But in that there is a catch. So we have understood one logic of cache lookup, right, in our previous session, because sometimes people don't want the Selenium to every time go to the element and re-identify. Okay, they are very much confident about my element will not change. So when you are giving this cache lookup and there is something is happening, if your DOM is refreshed, let's say, or you are refreshing your page or let's say you are really acting on certain Ajax based or your JavaScript based text, let's say that most probably you would have seen on click events where a tag will be there, or let's say that button tags will be there. So there actually it is a bit tricky, because what is happening, whenever you are entering this cache lookup and you are acting on a link, When you click on that link and verify something on that link, probably the link would have been gone, or the DOM would have been refreshed. So cache lookup will not re-verify or re-identify that element, and that's where actually the stale element exception will come. Okay, so those are the different things that you need to take care of that if you are using the pageFactory pattern. Fine. So that's kind of it actually for today. So you would have understood now about the pageFactory pattern. What are the advantages of that? It is giving an in-house way of what you call identifying these elements, and it is re-identifying as in when you are using. But with those benefits, you get certain demerits which you need to handle it explicitly when you are designing a framework. Fine. Okay, so stay tuned and do subscribe to this YouTube channel, because from next session onwards we will see what are other alternate options to this pageFactory pattern. Is it only the pageFactory pattern that we can utilize with our page object model? If it is not, then what else the alternate ways? So for that, stay tuned and do subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you can get the notification when we will upload any new sessions. Keep learning, and thank you for watching.